Welcome everyone to Wing It Garage. I thought I'd do a bit of a video, kind of introduce ourselves, let you guys know who we are, kind of where we came from and that. So my name's Ryan. I kind of started up Wing It Garage. So Wing It Garage actually initially kind of started up through a friend of mine, Joel Oliver. He was racing a Formula V here in South Australia. Long story, I got to know him when he was initially doing work experience with a company I was working for, where we did a lot of work on kind of Porsches, and my boss at the time was sponsoring him, so he actually came in, got to know him fairly well at the time. Once I left that company, I ended up actually chatting with Joel's old man, and Joel's old man actually got us a job up in the mines in Roxby. So kind of from there, Joel and I ended up pretty good mates. Once again, I worked on his car for a few years, probably about 5 years in total. I'll try and chuck a few photos in if I can work out how to. We're new to this, so yeah, it'd probably be a bit rocky to begin with, but I'm sure we'll find our flow. Joel actually ended up, I think we came second in the state championship twice, so he did pretty well. Really low budget. We were running tyres on the car that were kind of 2 seasons old, and still doing pretty well in the championship. So yeah, we were out there, we had a blast. He's a wicked steerer. He's since got out of the Formula V. Just family and life things as they happen. I'm sure a lot of you, if you've been into motorsport, you know what it's like. You kind of come in, you go, you come in, you go, and it's all just a bit of fun. So myself, the Skyline that you'll see, that started out as my daily back probably 8 years ago. I can't remember the exact year. I think it was probably around 2015, 2016. We started doing just bits and pieces to the car, as everyone does, as P-platers do, just hopping it up, making it a bit quicker. We started going out to regularities. So out at Nullala at the time, there was no tail and bend. Doing those and kind of just snowballed, I guess. Started going a bit quicker and a bit quicker, and then I love building things as much as I probably enjoy driving them. So at the time, trying to race, it's not cheap. Couldn't really afford to, but to tinker away and to buy bits and pieces off Gumtree here and there, and to just get some marketplace deals, meant that I was just able to start upgrading the car. And I did buy myself a TIG welder, and from there I taught myself how to TIG. I think the first couple of things I made was actually a little catch can battery holder that was all aluminium. That's probably one of the first things I learned to weld aluminium on. I'll see if I can find some old photos. If I do, I'll put them in. If I can't, they won't be in there. Did that, then did the usual upgrades, front mount intercoolers, actually made my own, like, I don't know what they called it, but it was like underneath the intercooler, it actually returns. So instead of the Skylines where they normally come, the intercooler pipe comes up through the engine bay, runs across the radiator, and then does a big J turn into the intake. I actually made it so it turned underneath the intercooler, run across. So all the pipe work came up in kind of the normal place. From the engine bay, it looked fairly standard. But yeah, we had the front mount intercooler on it. Where to from there? From there, I think it just kind of evolved. We put a new exhaust manifold on it. We went a bigger turbo. I think from memory we went to the 3076, and we put a NIS tune in it. It made, I can't remember, like high 200s, and it was pretty fun. It was a good car. It was really good. From there, I kind of met up with a bloke, Mark Janke. He actually built a R32 GTR, that it was a time attack car, and he was doing a lot of fiberglass work and all of that, and kind of showed me what he was doing, and that was the bug bit then. Then I started to design a new front bumper that I wanted to do for the car, something that was a bit more aero. It had a Bomex body kit on it that was pretty auto salon. I'd never liked it, but it was the right color, and whatever, I just left it. But then yeah, we got a stock bumper, made some kind of canards and some dive planes on it for what I knew at the time, and started molding that in. So did a fair bit of that. About the same time was when I was toying with the idea of cutting the front off the car and actually trying to make a more efficient radiator design. That was when, of all things, I stumbled across a Jeep Cherokee radiator they're really quite narrow but long, and that's actually what's on the car now, is we actually run a Jeep Cherokee radiator, because it meant that I could have that nice tight packaging with some decent surface area on the core to make the ductwork work coming into the car and through it. So it was about the time that all happened. From there, we actually moved up to Roxby. When we moved to Roxby, things kind of slowed down and changed a little bit. Obviously, where we were living, you're kind of 600 k's from your nearest kind of city. Very hard to get parts. You can't just run down to get kind of fiberglass supplies or bits and pieces. So we actually kind of Auto Pro in Roxby. The girls up there were phenomenal. Kat, Jess, Tonya, they helped out massively over the years. The amount of times I'd walk in and yeah, I need something for the Skyline. Yeah, what do you need? I need a Jeep Cherokee radiator, and the looks that I get was always quite amusing, and the random parts that we're always buying. Yeah, buying power steering fluid for an Astra for the Skyline, just things like that. But yeah, they helped out a lot. But the car just kind of ended up going through this evolution where, I guess, time, you learn things as you go. We ended up changing all the front design. Something that I loved Matt Longhurst's blue GTR, the time attack car. That just gorgeous car. Really well built, really well designed. So I kind of wanted something similar to his, but I liked the idea of kind of a one-piece nose cone. So that was when the nose cone kind of started. I blocked the car up at home, just timber chocks and everything, made sure everything was level and square, and then started molding some bits and pieces up. We made some core flute that we could copy left to right, so core flute, and then draping like material over the top of it to get our shapes. That was when that all kind of started, and that was a fairly long process. I hadn't really done a whole lot of fiberglassing. I'd never made a mold before, so we spent a fair bit of time making the plug for that. Obviously, from what I'd learned and read and all that, the plug was the most important part. So we spent a fair bit of time on that, kind of got that to a really nice standard. Made the mold. Unfortunately, a few learning curves in the mold making. We applied the gel coat, didn't leave it long enough. We left it overnight, but it was a fairly cold night, so it didn't actually fully cure. So when we started applying resin, it went all like alligatoring is what they call it, where it had all these like tracks and ribs, and it went bad, but it was salvageable. We did end up using that mold to make the nose cone that you see on the car today. It did all go fairly well, so we thought, we'll just use it. Joel actually spent a fair bit of time. He's really good at body work, so he spent a fair bit of time on it, actually sanding it, smoothing it, filling it, making it look nice. So that was awesome. Then we just painted it in the backyard, and it came up really well. So we had two So we had, 2 test days, I think it was, maybe 3 test days down in Adelaide. The first one ended when the turbo, we actually ended up blowing out the T3 gasket that was on it at the time. So blew the T3 gasket out. We were running an Astra power steering pump in the boot, and we were running power steering lines down that left-hand side chassis rail, and it ended up blowing gas towards them and didn't start a big fire, but it was just all smouldering there. So that kind of ended our day. Went home. That's right, we had a composite gasket in. So then I went to an MLS gasket. So we put a MLS gasket in, kind of fixed some of the damage, went back out. It was then at Tailem Bend. We went to Tailem Bend for our first ever time out there. And car was going really good, felt really good. We were still having a few teething issues. We were blowing intercooler pipes off, bits and pieces like that, just the usual kind of teething issues for a new car. But unfortunately, as you come through, I think it was turn 6, it's a hairpin left. As we came out of there, accelerated, and just something went wrong. I didn't know what it was, but there was just a god-awful noise in the cabin. And it turns out that we actually snapped a tensioner. The tensioner stud, so it dropped the cam belt. Once we dropped the cam belt, obviously that just did all the usual carnage to the head. So that was a big job. That we ended up getting Sam from Milton Engines down here in Adelaide involved. They did a fair bit of work on the head, tidied it all up. We ended up going 1 mil oversized valves, just to clean up, put new seats in and get rid of all the damage. So Sam recommended we go a larger valve while we're there. It's not the easiest thing to apparently get stock valves anymore. So it was just for the purpose of the car, we went oversized valves, which is fine. It's been a really good combo, that head. We will actually be putting it on a 2.8 soon that Doug from Ample's been building, so that'll be coming up soon, hopefully. But yeah, after that we actually had a really good run, and there's a video up until that point. I don't think I'd actually seen the end of a session, so there's actually a video of me driving along, and I was doing a session, and I actually got to the end. I saw the flags for the end of the session, and you just see me in the cabin just fist pumping the air. We were so pumped. The car lasted 20 minutes for a full session. It doesn't sound like much, but it was a lot of years and yeah, fair bit of work, so it was pretty awesome. But from there, it was just like a few little upgrades, few bits and pieces, but then we rolled into 2022, and I was green. Never had done any door-to-door racing before, but met up with Miles Bond, who basically kind of organises, looks after. He's a massive part of the SA Sports Sedans community. He actually hooked me up with my first set of tyres, which was pretty cool. Got involved with the sports sedans for 2022, and we had a pretty awesome run. I might even do a separate video about a bit of a shakedown from how 2022 ran. But yeah, 2022 was a pretty cool season. Awesome for me, being a rookie to going out and starting my license, getting my license to go racing, and then starting from the rear of field and working my way up and just getting that confidence. It was a pretty awesome year. I won't say too much more on that. I might actually leave that for another video. But yeah, we'll leave it there. I don't think there's too much more to say. There's if you got questions, anything like that, feel free to hit me up. It is predominantly me, my wife Kiara, and my lad We go out, we look after the car, we run the car. I've got some awesome mates. Pencil, Wayne Richards. He was pretty awesome helping out. 2022, I definitely couldn't have run the season without him. And then just helping, everyone that just chips in all the time has been awesome. So yeah, stay tuned. We'll might do another video on 2022 season, but yeah, stay tuned for that. I'll catch you all later.